This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time. Hey, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome on into the stream here for the day today. Hey, it is again Monday. Yes, first day of the work week. You're back to it. You're back on it. Here for this week at First Alert Weather Breakdown. Lots to get to here for today. I know I feel like I say that most times, but especially here for the day today. We got a main ArkLaTex headline weather-wise, and we got a main international weather headline here to talk about on this full stream here for you on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. So, again, welcome. It's Monday. It's 10:30. I know back to the work and school week, but you go. But Halloween is on Friday, and we have a good forecast for that lined up here for you coming up. We're going to go over that period coming up on our full rundown of our forecast here for you coming up. But let's get into the main headlines of what's going on, not just here, but internationally. And that's going to be shown up on our full rundown here. All right, first of all, in the ArkLaTex, obviously, we go over a full forecast here of the ArkLaTex weather coming up on the stream. Always, we're talking about our major cold front, which will be in store here for you tomorrow on your Tuesday. It's going to be giving us rain, and it's going to be mixing around all the conditions and the temperatures here, especially into the second half of this work week, to bring in some of the coolest air we have seen definitely so far this year. I'm not talking about our mornings getting cold. Those will be getting cold, but I think the big highlight of this cold front happening here for tomorrow will be our afternoons. Our afternoons are going to be chilly in for the second half of this work week. That could lead into your Halloween forecast as well in the process, too. Now, that's the major headline locally in the ArkLaTex. The major headline internationally, all across the weather world, everybody is focused on Major Hurricane Melissa. It is a Category 5 monster. Unfortunately, at this hour, it is in the Caribbean Sea. It is expected to move northward across the islands. Believe it or not, we'll talk about this a little bit later as well with some of the statistics following and surrounding the system. But Melissa, just bring on Cam here for just a second. Bring myself on Cam. Melissa is the third Cat 5 this year. This is actually kind of an uncharacteristic year because, believe it or not, I mean, we haven't had many tropical impacts to the United States, which is great news. Here, not just locally in the ArkLaTex, but we haven't seen anything along the coastline, period. From Texas all the way over to Florida and the Gulf, we haven't had much across the East Coast here for the most part either, which has been great. It's been phenomenal here to keep things quiet here at home. But still, just tropics overall. Again, third Cat 5 of the year. The last time that happened was 2005, and most of those Cat 5s did make impact. Infamous Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005 as well. So it just goes to show you the year that's been. It's been active, but it's been active out at sea. So the direction of where these systems have gone has been great. Now, granted, the last two Cat 5s didn't touch anything. Just touched the fish, and it's been great. But, unfortunately, this Cat 5 will strike land. That's what we want to keep you first alert about. Thankfully, it's not hitting the United States, but this could bring some historic devastation to some areas of the Caribbean islands. And to those areas, I wish you the best of luck. We'll go into that forecast coming up after the local forecast. And then I did want to get to my third and last bullet point. This will be a brief note that we had here for the day today. We're going to be explaining frost. Frost is coming up, the first frost of the season, which technically happens when temperatures reach below the freezing point. In for the ArkLaTex. We'll talk about when that happens, why it's kind of bad for our plants, and what to do to take precautions on those certain things. Just so you know, I'm going to go into Melissa kind of a little bit at length, but not into your, I guess, full exclusive content here for the day today. Just so you know, that will be with CJ tomorrow. CJ will use his entire exclusive content time to go thoroughly over Melissa. I'm going to go over Melissa a good bit today, but I definitely could bring out, for example, more graphics like rainfall totals, things like that matter. CJ will be going all at length into all of that tomorrow. Tomorrow's the main day of when Melissa is expected to strike some of those Caribbean islands, again, as that devastating Category 5, and it just turned that, again, overnight into this morning. That's the biggest international weather headline that we're watching out for here at this hour. But let's go first into, I guess, in a way, more lighthearted news. The ArkLaTex forecast. It's looking it's looking good. It's looking grand for the most part. We do have that one cold front to get through, which we will talk about here, which is going to reshape our weather here over the next couple of days. Here's a live look at a downtown Shreveport. It is still gloomy out. It was foggy out the door this morning. I wouldn't call it foggy anymore. Thankfully, most of the clouds have risen above the actual direct surface. You can see the clouds definitely covering still the tops of the buildings. I mean, it almost looks like they're cut off completely. The Regent's Tower, as you know, is definitely taller than this. So the point is the clouds are still there, and they're still there at low levels. They're just not at the surface. You can clearly see Market Street there rolling down from downtown Shreveport at this hour. So thankfully, we've at least cleared up the cloud cover right immediately at the surface, and now it's just an issue of moving it away from up above. And to be fair, a good amount of cloud cover still will be lingering here throughout the day today. Here's a live look at your Window World Skycam. That is also filled with cloudy skies too. And to be fair, this is going to be limiting how much we're warming up here for the day today as well, to keep in mind. Excuse me. All right, so beyond that, let's get into our weather headlines here. And there's a lot happening, again, over the next 3 days, all due to that cold front happening here for tomorrow. That's what we're watching out for. That's what we're keeping you first alert about today. You've already seen the cloud cover around here this morning. I do think the sunshine will get a good peek through and at least say hi to us later on this afternoon for a good portion of the ArkLaTex. Maybe not everybody, but for a good portion of the ArkLaTex, it will be partly to mostly cloudy skies here later on this afternoon with warm conditions and, most importantly, dry conditions. I shouldn't see rain here at all today. And we haven't seen rain yet this morning, which is good news. But tomorrow, that's when we have that chance of storms coming on by. I'm just expecting one round of quick showers, relatively quick showers, to come on, pass on through. And the rest of your day for Tuesday should be dry. It's not going to be a washout by any means. Again, just one round to deal with. We'll explain the timing of those storms in just a little bit. What happens as a result of that cold front coming through is obviously colder air. And not just any colder air, as I just mentioned earlier. These are going to bring along some very cool afternoons here for you for the second half of this work week. And Friday is Halloween, so it could cool down Halloween a good bit as well, too. In addition to that, we get the sunshine back out. That will slowly help us to warm up, actually, heading back into this weekend. And believe it or not, just so you know, that chance of rain here for tomorrow, the only chance of rain out of that entire 7-day forecast coming up. Go over that in just a little bit, too. Let's go over temperatures first and foremost, though, because this is the thing that's going to be shaken up a lot over the next couple of days. Now, for today, wide range of temperatures. You've got the sunshine on you, such as areas of East Texas, I can tell. It's definitely feeling warmer. Maybe Carthage, Nacogdoches, 67 in Carthage and 70 in Nacogdoches. Meanwhile, still lower 60s out the door across most of northwest Louisiana, including Shreveport, only at 63 degrees, just past 1030. I mean, if we took this temperature about 2 weeks ago, it would already be soaring into the lower 80s here at this point in time. So it's good to see temperatures a little more comfortable here out the door. Still might need some sleeves even. 64 degrees there in Texarkana. Highs for today all around. Upper 60s maybe for the Queen. Yeah, that's going to be impressive. Meanwhile, lower 70s out for most areas around Texarkana. 72 degrees, 72 in New Boston. Maybe a little more sunshine coming in spots of East Texas today. 79 in Carthage. 81 still in Center today. 81 in St. Augustine. Meanwhile, 78 in Marshall. 75 in Dangerfield. Northwest Louisiana, a couple upper 70s all around. 80 in for many. 80 in Converse and 80 expected here for Shreveport here for this afternoon with a little more sunshine again flowing out through the afternoon hours. So overall, here's what's happening with our temperatures. Let me get you a grand kind of scale of how this is going to outlook here for you here for this work week. Now, overall, the coldest high temperature that was recorded in the month of October so far this month has been 79 degrees in Shreveport. And that happened about a week ago. Do you see, by comparison, even today, kind of rivals around that number, so to speak. I mean, we have high temperatures expected around 80 degrees here for this afternoon. Then the cold front hits tomorrow, and everything drops a lot. That is a high temperature here for Wednesday, projected at 63 degrees. There's some areas that might not even reach 60 degrees here for Wednesday. These are your highs, again, 2 days from now. Upper 50s potentially there for Texarkana, 56 into Hope, 63 for a high temperature in Shreveport. And again, that's one of the warm spots that could be around the ArkLaTex. Just 2 days out for now. A big rush of cooler air is in store into the afternoon. Again, just 2 days out. Just so you know, I mean, these are pretty much the temperatures you woke up to this morning. Imagine that, and imagine just staying at that into the afternoon. To be fair, that means our mornings are going to get also a lot colder. later on this work week, too. We'll get more on that in just a little bit. Here's how the overall outlook goes here for your work week over the next 5 days, temperature-wise. Today, up to 80 still. Tomorrow, 75 degrees. Cooler air just barely starting to filter on in there for your day on Tuesday. Then most of the cool air finally settles in for your Wednesday. Then we just have sunshine for the rest of your work week. So that's going to try to heat us up slowly but surely into the rest of the work week. But even then, still a high that's limited to 69 degrees there for your Friday. All right, current satellite picture. Let's get into the rain side of this. We talked about how does the colder air, or how much do we cool off by thanks to this cold front that's moving through here for tomorrow. Now let's get into the kind of the storm part and the storm issue, because we still got to get through that here for your Tuesday. That's what the cold front is at this hour. You can see that little band of rain that's coming right now across Colorado and Utah here at this hour, and kind of the moisture rotating around the east side of this low pressure system up into the Dakotas here at this hour. This is a system that's going to be rushing down south and east towards the ArkLaTex. Keep in mind, this is a low-pressure system that is rushing over the Rocky Mountains. Cold Rocky Mountain air, dry Rocky Mountain air is going to be clearing us out with sunshine here after this little shot of rain. But most importantly, again, that's cold air from the Rockies. It's already snowed up in some of those spots up into Colorado and Wyoming. The point is, that cold air is going to be coming down here into the region here for us after tomorrow, as we just discussed in the temperature outlook. But let's get into the actual timing of the storms here for your Tuesday. Again, Tuesday, not today. Today, still a good amount of cloud cover around, as we've seen on our webcam. As you see on the future track, especially by the afternoon, the mid-afternoon hours, try to peel back on enough of that cloud cover to at least get some peaks of sunshine here, especially into Shreveport. Maybe not as much into Texarkana and the I-30 corridor, but we'll see. Overall, you kind of see that cloud cover even lingering there into late tonight into the I-30 corridor there for you. And then the rain starts to slowly appear with maybe a light drizzle on the northern end of the ArkLaTex. Again, that starts early tomorrow morning. But then you're really going to start to see an actual line show up right around the late morning hours, right around this time tomorrow. Right around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. starts to show up in areas like the Queen and Idabel and McCurtain County. This is a line that's going to move across the I-30 corridor around the middle of the hours there for your Tuesday. Now, keep in mind, also look at the shade on that cold front and then on those storms coming on through. This is light to moderate rainfall coming on through around the midday hour. So hopefully shouldn't be dealing with anything too drastically bad with those storms coming on through. To be fair, once we get into the afternoon hours, then you'll start to find some shades of some orange and some red, indicating maybe some heavier rainfall pushing on through once we get into the thick of the afternoon. That's when the line actually moves through the central portion of the ArkLaTex from Shreveport up into Minden, across areas of East Texas that are south of I-20 as well. There during essentially the afternoon commute home from school, maybe a little bit work as well, especially in areas around Natchitoches once you get into, say, 5, 6 o'clock for you there. This line will contain lots of heavy rain, which could bring up a little bit of a few rain totals. But keep in mind, this is a quick system. It should be a thin line of storm, a fairly thin line of storms, hopefully, for you moving on through as well in the process, too. And most importantly, this should not bring severe weather. This should not bring severe weather. I shouldn't be looking out for any threats of tornadoes, hail, strong winds, any of that, which is good news on the surface of that. All right, so once we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday, notice Wednesday, believe it or not, cloud cover comes back in. Rain gets a little close, but rain should hold out of the region. And it's going to be a cloudy day Wednesday. That's what also helps to keep us cool, keep us chill there for Wednesday in the middle of this week before a little more sunshine shows itself definitely by Thursday and heading into Halloween as well. In fact, just so you know, this is our Climate Prediction Center, which is closely associated with the National Weather Service. When they give a most likely drier than average outlook like this 6 to 10 days out, especially with the shade compared to other shades, this just means we have no major shot of rain at all after Tuesday. This includes the next 6 to 10 days, and we are also under that pretty much for the next 2 weeks. That's right. Our entire 12-day forecast is blank with nothing but sunshine. Again, that is after tomorrow. Still got to get through the storms tomorrow. And the point is, I got nothing else for you in sight rain-wise. That's going to drastically change the weather outside of the ArkLaTex. So how does that affect Halloween? Well, again, the temperatures, the highs for Wednesday are in the upper 50s, lower 60s. But because that sun comes back out here for your Thursday and Friday, it's going to try to heat the atmosphere back up just a little bit each and every day. And it looks like we have a high somewhere around 70 degrees, as we just discussed earlier, here for your Friday. But by the time you get into Halloween evening, obviously that cools off a good bit, especially once that night sky comes on out. And might get a little bit of chills as well into the atmosphere. Anyways, the point is temperatures are right around 60 degrees, give or take, around their ArkLaTex. So upper 50s, lower 60s. A little cool for your costume, maybe. Maybe make sure it has some sleeves if you're still prepping up your costume, like myself. I'm talking to me, myself. I'm going to go to a local store as well to see what options they have. But again, the point is your costume might want to get some sleeves, especially if you want to stay comfortable out in the evening hours if you are trick-or-treating at that time. All right, but hey, most importantly, I will say things are looking good and completely dry when it comes to Halloween. Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, it's still a month away. 7-day forecast, anyways. Let's get into it. A little chance of rain again here for your Tuesday. Rest of your 7-day forecast is completely blank with nothing but sunshine to look forward to. Again, you go from a high of 80 today. Today is the hottest day of the work week. And again, that's saying something with a high of 80 degrees. 60s for the second half of the work week for high temperatures, including Friday here for your Halloween. Notice those morning lows. We haven't talked too much about that. Those are still be in the upper 50s, lower 60s again here for tomorrow morning. That's about what we started out with this morning. And then those will start cooling down Wednesday morning, especially once we get into Thursday and Friday morning. Oh, man, 40s. Few areas might even be waking up into the upper 30s. So, yeah, it's going to be actual heavy coat weather potentially out for some of you by the end of this work week. So it's going to be one of those kind of work weeks where you're going to have to rethink your attire day in and day out, especially once you get past Tuesday. And even Tuesday, don't forget the umbrella on the way out the door. Again, you didn't need that here today, but you'll definitely need that here for tomorrow before that cooler air, yes, even cooler air, settles on in. As you see, once we get into next weekend, highs do appear to reach back into the 70s, mid-70s at that, by the time you get into Sunday. All right, we got two more topics to go over. We got the frost to go over. I'm going to go over that next. And then after that, we're going to talk all about Melissa. Again, CJ is going to go a lot more into Melissa tomorrow, but I'm going to go at least relatively into it and see what's going on and what we're watching out for with that Category 5 hurricane. Truly a remarkable historic storm. It's about to impact Jamaica again tomorrow. We'll have the full details on that after just a quick water break, commercial break. We'll see you after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Breakdown. Hey, again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas. Thanks for hanging tight with me here on a Monday. I know you got the Monday blues, but hey, at least you're not hanging out. Hopefully, you're not hanging out in the Caribbean Sea out right now at this hour. Obviously, some devastating impacts there. We'll go over that in just a second. One more topic I want to get into locally here in the ArkLaTex. Kind of a monologue. I wish I had a graphic about this, but it'd be a little too interactive here. I want to talk about just about frost here in general, especially because some areas last week got I wouldn't say a little too close, but they're starting to get there. We had some lows. I remember last week, I think DeQueen reached down to 39 degrees on a weekday morning last week, and I think everybody had widespread 40s around the ArkLaTex. That first frost is coming. Now, what is frost? It forms when temperatures reach below the freezing point, 32 degrees, because that's when water essentially freezes up and condenses onto anything. So if it's below 32 degrees at the surface and you have water at the surface, it's going to condense and expand. That's bad for plants. Bad for plants, bad for any kind of wildlife out there, especially if it's trying to survive, such as like your garden or things like that. Obviously, winter's coming up and everything like that, but always that first frost of the year always catches people off guard, especially if you're still trying to maintain your garden, so to speak. And obviously, we don't want that happening. Obviously, blankets help plants to survive, those kind of things. So we always want to stay first alert about that and any kind of frost coming. The National Weather Service usually will provide us with some sort of frost advisory, too. Again, that should come hopefully sometime next week. We'll see. But just kind of the science behind it. That's the last thing I wanted to go to about this and when it's going to come. The science behind it is, again, these are water droplets that are expanding. So when water forms on plants, they expand, and they kind of expand with whatever they're sticking to. So they make the plant cells expand and, in a way, kind of explode, which kind of just destroys and deteriorates kind of the composition, if you will, of the plant itself. And that kind of helps wilt it and, unfortunately, dies it off. The helpful nutrients that the plant needs to be able to survive in the first place. Obviously, water's great, but you don't need it freezing and absolutely getting that cold on these plants. Now, last thing I want to say about this here for the ArkLaTex is that the first freeze, the first frost, usually comes in November, all around the ArkLaTex. It's October 27th. November is this coming Saturday. So just watch out. We'll keep you first alert, keep you weather aware on those kind of things whenever we could get a frost. To be fair, the end of this week, we could get close in a few little spots. I am seeing some lows in the mornings that could get down realistically into the upper 30s here by the end of the work week. Yes, very chilly. I don't think it's going to drop below that freezing point, but again, we are getting to that point. So again, stay weather aware. And that's kind of the little basis behind what frost is and what it can do. So I know everybody, especially exclusive content here, is for learning about what Melissa's going to do. It is a Cat 5 monster. That's our last topic here for the day today. Real quick, I do see a comment on our YouTube feed. Just to answer that real quick before we get into a little more Melissa, I was just checking on that double real quick. Hood Pocahontas, nice little username. We'll be getting bad weather tomorrow. We're getting storms. We're not getting severe weather. I hope that answers your question. Because some people just say, oh, bad weather is storms. So if that's your definition of bad weather, then yes. If bad weather is severe weather with storms, then your answer is no. No hail, no strong winds, certainly no tornadoes. I shouldn't be seeing any of that. And then you say, yes, after the rain tomorrow, the temperature's dropped. Yes, temperature's going to drop big time later on this work week, so watch out for that. Okay, we went over the local forecast a little bit earlier. But anyways, going into Melissa, let's get a live look at it here for you. I just have 2 or 3 graphics to go over this here period. This is just from a tropical satellite standard, just to look at this system. Obviously, this is not Tropical Storm Jerry. I don't know why that was on that, essentially on this map. Let me fix that, actually. I don't know why that showed up. There we go. Anyways, here's your tropical satellite picture, just your visible satellite. This is literally just looking at the clouds, period, from the satellites above. You can kind of tell where the system is. It's that remarkable on the map. There it is in the Caribbean Sea. It is an absolute kind of beauty to behold. Kind of stand in awe, just from an outside perspective looking in. Obviously, you feel for everybody in the path of this system. We'll go over that in just a second, but this is a really impressive system. There's your eye. that indicates an absolute, very healthy hurricane in and of itself, especially because it is circular. You don't really see any, it looks like a perfect circle. That's essentially what you need for a major hurricane like this. If you see any wobbles or if you don't see an eye and all, then it usually means it's a weaker tropical system, or not even at that as well. But you can see all the circulation around it. All the clouds are going with it. I mean, you can see it's taking up pretty much the basis of the entire circulation all across the Caribbean Sea. And this is moving northward, which unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, will hit land. First starting with Jamaica right here in the main city of Kingston with it. This is going to be moving up northward. To go over the another look here for you. This is a look at kind of the strong cloud tops as well, and you can see that gaping hole there in the middle. Just really impressive here on the satellite picture, and this goes really, really wide. I mean, look at this island. Just so you know, for comparison, this island of Jamaica is about 150 miles wide. If that, I think it's measured at like 140. Yes, that is 140 miles. Look at that in comparison to this entire system that stretches out across the entire Caribbean Sea here for the most part. The point is, it is huge. It is a huge system. Obviously, all of the strongest winds are tailored into the core of the system, which is just right around it. But this is going to be moving northward and unfortunately impacting Jamaica again, mostly tomorrow. So lastly, I meant to update this tropical system here for you. But the last thing I want to go into real quick, if I can get, I'm actually going to build this on the fly because I forgot to finish doing that here for you. So, Melissa, there is the cone. Let me hide this here for you, and I'm going to move the scene camera. There we go to where it is now. This is, again, moving up north and east. This is going to be moving through Jamaica before hitting the east side of Cuba there, and then this will roll through the Bahamas before finally going out to sea. And most importantly to us, look at the United States. This does not hit the United States at all, which is at least good news there. But yeah, this is going to be moving up northeast, north to sea, north and out of here. And this is still going to be a Cat 3. I know it doesn't have, let me see if I can put on the forecast annotations here for you. There we go. So it's got winds, yeah, at 165 miles an hour right now. This is really impressive. Just so you know, what you need to become a Cat 5 is just winds at or above 151. So it is well even above, and it has accessed the mark of just a simple basic Cat 5 system. So it's at 165 miles an hour. The pressure is really impressive if you're into those kind of statistics like I am as a personal meteorologist. It might be a scientific, but 908, that is a really, really low number for a pressure system there. But, boy, those winds, 165 miles an hour. Now, obviously, by tomorrow night, it's a greatly expected a week in there. Tuesday, 125 miles an hour as it kind of starts to move through Cuba. Still hits Cuba as a hurricane, but to definitely move through the Bahamas, it looks like a little bit later on as a tropical storm for you there up into this kind of area right around here. But definitely hitting, again, Jamaica as a Cat 5 storm. Already impacts ongoing now, as you can imagine. But this is just the very start for the next, 24 hours for a very, very dangerous system indeed. So, again, I wish you the best of everybody, best for everybody around Jamaica, especially if you have relatives there. Or if you're somehow watching this from there, please take precautions. And that's an understatement at that as well. So please. Again, we will have one more forecast on Melissa here tomorrow, the first look with a breakdown. Our entire exclusive content is just going to be going into that for that historical storm that's going to be going through the Caribbean islands. So again, wish the best for those all around that area. And they're going to be picking up the pieces for weeks to come, unfortunately. It's kind of just something that's already written in stone with that kind of a system. That's just that powerful. So if you hear anything in the next, last thing I'll leave off with, if you hear anything in the next week or two, and we'll try to help mention this as well, a part of KSLA News 12. If you hear anything about humanitarian relief, maybe just prep up maybe a little bit of some money aside, or maybe some supplies aside, whatever you can do to be able to help in advance. It's time to kind of already start beginning to help these people out if you have the ability to do so, because it's not going to be a great situation there, unfortunately, for weeks to come. And today again is just the beginning. As I said, meteorologist CJ Cartledge, who will be on the First Look with a Breakdown podcast here tomorrow, We'll break down the latest information on Melissa tomorrow, and he's going to go into all of that forecast for you then. What's to happen, what's going on with the system, and yeah, it's going to be a really historic day for Jamaica again tomorrow. So wish the best for those people. Anyways, CJ, we'll see you tomorrow. Meteorologist CJ Cartledge will be your host for the First Alert Weather Breakdown here for tomorrow. I will see you again Thursday on Thursday's podcast. CJ will also see you again on Wednesday. I will be the host, for your Thursday and Friday podcast of First Alert Weather Breakdown coming up later on this work week. But as for today, enjoy the rest of the day. Today, again, we got our own rain coming through here for tomorrow. Nothing severe weather-wise, certainly nothing of tropical impact severe weather-wise here tomorrow. Just a simple round of rain coming on by. That brings on some much cooler temperatures again here for the second half of the work week. Hopefully you're ready for it. Ready or not, here it comes. Ready or not, you're excited for it. That is as well. So, yeah. Anyways, that's First Alert Weather Breakdown here for the day today. Have a great rest of your Monday. Peace out. Good luck this work week. And, hey, Halloween, scared you right around the corner here for this coming Friday. All right. Peace out. Again, see you tomorrow, 10:30. Be there. Be square. Most importantly, stay weather aware.